Teams punching their ticket to the Sweet 16 today. Miami getting slightly a little bit of an upset over Indiana to do it. And of course, we have to check in with Locked On Canes because, Alex, you told me you weren't quite sure they were going to win this one. You were a little nervous going into it?
Very nervous going into it. I thought it was a tough matchup with Indiana's size, but Miami was able to balance that out with their athleticism. The way Miami came out shooting so hot, compared to how they looked coming out against Drake, where they started the game 1 for 12, Miami couldn't miss early on in this game. And then when things got a little bit dicey in the second half and Indiana was able to pull off some runs of their own, I thought the big difference in this game was what Norchad Omier especially was able to do on the offensive glass. He had 8 offensive rebounds. All the second chance points for Miami in that second half came in huge.
When we talk about Miami, obviously they had a great run last year, and maybe they don't get as much credit for that as they deserve. But when it comes to games like this, where you're giving up leads, second half there, Indiana's making some serious runs. Does that experience from last year really help them in moments like this?
Not only last year, but I think the experience of the last month, because Miami struggled down the stretch of their ACC regular season schedule, keeping their composure late in close games. Not even close games necessarily, because against Florida State a few weeks ago, Miami had a 25-point second half lead, and they found a way to cough that up and lose the game on a final shot. They had other dicey moments in games against Pittsburgh, for example. So if anything, I think Miami may be learning from some of those mistakes in the regular season, help them keep their composure, because they were able to finish this game out strong against Indiana, and someone else who had a big bounce back performance, which was so needed, ACC Player of the Year, Isaiah Wong. I mean, he looked nothing like an ACC Player of the Year against Drake, where he couldn't hit the ocean from a pier. He shot 1 for 10 in that game, shot 9 for 17, and scored 27 points this time around.
And even battling through injury there at the end as well. So when you look at the Canes, obviously they had that really great run last year. What do you see about them going into Sweet 16 that maybe worries you, or do you feel like they're kind of heating up at the right time?
I think they're heating up at the right time. I mean, going up against a great team like Houston is always worrisome. I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup. I'm looking forward to seeing what the point spread's going to be on FanDuel once that comes out, because I'm sure Miami's going to be an underdog. They were a small, you mentioned it, they were a small underdog against Indiana. I saw it around Indiana -2 or 1.5 shortly before tip-off. They were able to overcome that. And, I think Miami was, I'm not sure, I can't remember what the actual spreads were in the tournament last year, but I know a lot of the experts were picking against Miami in every game they played in the tournament last year from the opening round, and they made it all the way to the Elite Eight. I think they like that. I think Jim Larinaga, he enjoys that bulletin board material more than most, and I think Miami likes to carry that chip on their shoulder.
They absolutely do. Love to prove people wrong. Alex, I'm sure you will have much more for us on Locked On Canes. Of course, Locked On College Basketball has us covered completely on everything to do with March Madness. All of this is a part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.